Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. In today's video we're doing something a bit different. I actually hadn't thought about doing this video ever before because the topic isn't my forte, if we can say that. I'm not great at doing things with my hair. I did get this comment that asked if I could do a video talking about my fringe, how I style it, how I cut it, stuff like that. So that's what this video is going to be about. Disclaimer, warning, this is very unprofessional. I've never went to school to get taught this. I've maybe watched like one YouTube video when I got my fringe like 6-7 years ago. I'm not a professional, so I guess take what I say with a grain of salt. So this is my natural hair. I showered today, so you can kind of see what it's looking like. It's not straight, and I think when your hair isn't straight it kind of creates issues with your fringe, which is what I've found. So I guess my tips and tricks are kind of like aimed at people who don't have straight hair and have kind of like a kink in their hair. I would also say that when you don't have straight hair, it's so important to dry your fringe with a hairdryer, because if you don't, your hair is gonna go everywhere. It's gonna go like, my hair goes like, and like it's crazy when I don't do it. Like, so it's key. Hair drying your fringe is step number one. Now I'm gonna cut it because it does need a bit of a trim. I could probably leave it for a bit, but as you can see it's slightly going over my eyes. Now I like to not do it too short. I like to have it so it's kind of sitting like midway to my brow. So it's not above my brow, it's not over completely off my brow. It's kind of like somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna just tie my hair back just so it doesn't get in the way. And we'll get to cutting it. Now, when you cut your fringe, you don't want to cut it with wet hair because your hair tends to bounce back up when it's dry. So you might cut your fringe wet and it ends up here, but when it's dry it ends up here, if that makes sense. So you always want to make sure that your hair is dry when you cut your fringe. Now don't laugh. Again, I'm not into hair, stuff like that, so I don't see the point in buying something that I'm only gonna use for my fringe. So the scissors that I use are just my fabric cutting scissors. I use them because they are really sharp, because they're fabric cutting ones. I wouldn't just use regular paper. But yeah, these are my scissors. They're huge first of all for cutting your fringe, but it works. But you know, I definitely obviously recommend getting proper hair cutting scissors. Turn you around. I'm trying to do this so you'll be able to see what I'm doing, and also so I can look at the mirror. So this might, I don't know, we'll see how well this works out. But yeah, so what I do when it comes to getting the length is I tend to go this side because I cut with my right hand, so my other hand is left, so I start this side and work across. So what I do is I take a bit of my fringe from the left hand side and I grab it with my 2 fingers, pull it down to kind of the length I want it at, but just above it, because you want the scissors to stop just before your fingers, and I just cut straight across. I do this because we end up feathering it out anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's not poker straight. Now that I've done this little section, it's still too long, so I like to do a little bit more off. And this is what's important, is that you take a little bit at a time. You can always take more off, but you sadly can't add back on. If you mess up, you can't add any more back on. So that's kind of a good length for me. Okay, so now that I've done like the section at the side here, what I do next is I'll just work my way around the head, taking a little portion of the hair that I've just cut as like a guide, so I kind of know how high up to cut. Okay, so now this is like kind of the length that I like to keep it at. It's like just out of my eyes, it's not gonna get in my eyes and I can kind of like forget about it. But you can see that I'm not a professional. And you can see it's kind of like uneven. But for me and someone who is not too fussy or OCD or cares that much about their hair, that's fine because it doesn't stay perfectly neat anyways. What I like to do now is kind of go again, just grab a little bit of the fringe with 2 fingers again, hold it like an inch away from the edges, and taking your scissors, you're just gonna like kind of cut upwards, and this will kind of make it so it is kind of jaggy, natural jaggy look, and it also kind of thins out the edges, so you do get more, it's like more heavy up here and then it thins out closer to your eyes, which I personally like what I do. So grabbing that, I'm gonna bring you in actually again. So yeah, so grabbing a bit of hair about 1 inch away, I just start cutting at it. And you can cut as much as you want off. Again, just kind of doing it in little pieces, always like letting go, checking, picking it up again and doing more. You don't want to cut too much off because you can't stick it back on again, sadly. So keep checking, you'll get there. But after I finish cutting my fringe, I'll just give you some tips and tricks on how I style them. Then I'll be in the video. Nice quick video for you guys today. Okay, so that is how I cut my fringe. I hope that it was a bit kind of useful for you, and I mean it's very simple. Again, once you kind of know to not go overboard the first time you cut, and also the feathering is like kind of like a trick because then you don't need to worry about the straight, bold, straight fringe, if you know what I mean. You don't need to worry about that because you're not going for that look anyways. But I wanted to kind of quickly go through what I do when it comes to styling them or getting them to behave, is what I like to say. So what I'm about to show you is what I do to kind of tame the fringe and what I do when I get ready for the day. And all you're gonna need is some straighteners, your hairbrush, and curlers. Now I have had like this curler and this type of curler since the beginning. They're great. They're the Velcro ones. These are good if you don't have thick hair, if you have like a smaller fringe, these are great. But if you have thicker hair like me, a longer fringe, these might not work for you because they don't hold on to a lot of hair. You will find that your hair kind of falls out. But recently like a few years ago, I upgraded to these bad boys. Do these make a difference? These are so good. I definitely recommend these ones over the Velcro ones. These ones I feel like are more like, you get these in a pack and I feel like you're meant to put them in your hair, but they look great for your fringe. You might be asking yourself, but why must you put a curler in your hair? I mean, my hair right now, it's looking pretty good, there's nothing to it, but this is because I've just washed it. Day 2, day 3, you'll be needing these. You know, just grab the fringe all in your hand, stick it out and just wrap it so it goes how it's meant to lie, and boom, there you go. Your fringe is out your face, you can do your makeup. And I actually really like putting a curler in, even if my fringe is looking pretty good, because I know that during the day, if I don't put a curler in, my fringe will start to misbehave. It's the weirdest thing. Typically this will be put in and then I'll do my makeup, so like maybe 15, 30 minutes later, that's when I'll take it out, so it's got like a bit of bounce to it, and then I will straighten my fringe. So now I'm going to straighten my fringe, and this doesn't take long either. Fringes are not that bad. Once you get a hang of them and you know how they behave, they're not too difficult. Like, you know, I can kind of look at my fringe on a day and kind of tell what sort of mood it's going to be in, and then I can adjust from there what I'm going to do. So I've just got my straighteners on. These are Tresemme, and I've just got it on the low heating, because you don't need it on a huge heat, it's just your fringe. And what I do, I take my hairbrush and I kind of grab it and turn it, if you can see, and just straighten it, adding a bit of that curve again to the fringe, because you don't want to go straight down when it comes to your fringe, because your fringe doesn't do that. It's on a forehead that's naturally curved, so when you're straightening it, you want it to curve around like that. You don't want to just go straight down, because that would just look unnatural and probably really weird. And then I just kind of brush it out, floof it, and play about with it. And that is it. That's my fringe. That's all I do. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Very random for this channel, but I want to help some of you out. Thank you for the inspiration for this video. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.